All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for today's Women's Golf New Programming session. I just want to kind of kick things off by introducing our panelists. So we have Liz Cooper and Mary Lee Hogan from the LPGA, Jerome Goddard with British Columbia Golf, and then Audrey Oren with Washington Golf. So just kind of the layout for today's session, we're going to have them kind of dive into their women's programming, and then I'm going to kind of follow up with some deeper questions and then open the floor up for you guys at the end. So with that being said, we're going to kick off with Liz to start us off.
Awesome. Thank you, Santana. My name is Liz Cooper. I'm the Senior Director of Membership and Events for the LPGA Amateur Golf Association. And what the LPGA Amateur Golf Association is, it's 16,500 members in the U.S., Bermuda, Dominican Republic, and Canada. And we run about 130 chapters within that 16,500 members. So it's a chapter level based, local level golf. Passionate women who play the game. I think one of them is in here today. I just saw her. Dev, there you go. And these ladies are members of your associations. They, keep their handicaps with the state and regional golf associations. We don't provide a handicap for them anymore. And they run about 10,000 annual events within their local area. So it's a very vibrant community of women who play the game. And as part of their membership, we also have a virtual component of the membership. It's called our virtual community. Within that, there is golf education, which we think would be really interesting to the state and regional golf associations. We work with the LPGA professionals, who are obviously part of the LPGA, and they're the experts in teaching women, right? I mean, they're the LPGA pros. So we've got a YouTube channel that we're working on and teaching everything from basically, beginner golf, etiquette, golf 101, and then all the way up to your seasoned, person looking for a bunker tip from a tour player. So we've got all that education within that virtual community membership. And then also another unique benefit is members of the virtual community or LPGA amateurs in general get complimentary tickets to Epson tour events and LPGA tour events. So if you've got a tour event in your state, it's an awesome benefit for your members there. They get there themselves and a guest, and that applies to all those tour events except for Solomon Cup and U.S. Women's Open. So we'll work with Mike on that to figure that one out later. But that's an awesome benefit. And then also we've got the directory in there where, if I'm going to Texas and I want to play golf, I'm looking for somebody who's a 25 handicap to 35 and wants to play on Wednesday mornings, the directory can search those unique characteristics, and then, you can find somebody who is an LPGA Amateurs member to play with in that area. And then, of course, we've got the other benefits, your typical discounts and on apparel and goods, and we have an LPGA Perks program that has 300,000 discounts, which is with restaurants and you name it, it's in there. It's one of those you can search. There's actually airline discounts in that as well. So what we wanted to present to you today was part of that virtual community membership, and to be able to share that with you all as being able to enhance your benefits for your members. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later as we get into the questions, and be able to just offer this to your members. We've got some easy ways to do this. It is a $49.99 value, but what we're doing is rolling it out through the end of 25 to all the state and regionals for no charge for your female members. So there's a link. It's easy. There's a checkbox or a link. We can work through how to get the members uploaded into the virtual community, and then they can start to take advantage of all those benefits that I just talked about. So it's a pretty awesome program. We're excited about it. We've been working on it for about 2 years now, and we're just building more and more information in that platform pretty much daily. So, right on, Jerome.
Thanks. Hi everyone. I'm Jerome. I'm from BC Golf. I head up our rules and competitions, and last year we started something called the Cloud Series. So this is what we think is probably the first of its kind in golf, at least. And this is a series of events, 6 events, month-long events. We have a team of 4. It is just for women for now, at least. And you can post your score from any golf course in the province. You pick your course, you pick your tee, and you end up on a provincial leaderboard. So there's a different format every month. We go from April to September. So there's a shamble, scramble, alternate shot, better ball, and then a Stableford, and then the last one is escaping me right now. So we have found in that first year we had close to 400 players a month. This year that number went up to 600, which is pretty. We were very pleasantly surprised by both years, really. I think what's exciting about this is this. Well, first off, it's open to anyone who's a member. There's no cost to sign up. Really, it doesn't matter what kind of golf course you want to play. This is open to anyone on a short course, public course, private course. So that's really exciting, and I think what's really, really exciting for us is our provincial championships don't get players from all over the province. So some of you might know BC, British Columbia is a huge province. We have 8 zones, and we see in most of our provincial championships 5, maybe 6 zones are represented. But with this event, all 8 zones are represented. We have women of all ages playing, and I think it's really exciting. It gives a lot of membership value to our players, and I think I'm really excited about where it's going. I know we have some copycats as well, which is really nice to see. So as I said, no cost to enter. There are gross prizes, there are net prizes, but that's not really the main focus. The biggest prize is draw prizes, and with that we give shop credits to our PGA professionals like that throughout the province. So yeah, as I said, it's with close to 600 players. I do see that number growing again next year, and we're really excited to see where this program goes.
Awesome, perfect segue.
So I'm Audrey. I'm the manager of membership operations with Washington Golf and one of the co-creators of the Wall Golf Ladies Links League. It is our fully virtual women's competition in this league. So we, through the collaborative space ups we have at the PNJ, we heard about BC's Cloud Series. So we were already going through strategic planning last year and decided we wanted to revamp our women's less competitive offering. So after we heard about the Cloud Series, we kind of made a spin on that. So ours is 2-person teams. You do not have to play with another team participating in the event. You can play whatever course you want, anytime during the monthly window, generally the 1st through the 21st. And we had 4 different formats: Scramble, Best Ball, Chapman, and Shamble. And we ran it April through September, and we kept a season-long points list. And the top 32 teams on that points list and 4 randomly selected teams got to participate in the final day that we had at the home course in our golf course in October, and as a fun culmination of the whole year. So it kind of married our previous version of women's event to this version.
Right on. Thank you guys so much for kind of giving us a brief synopsis. It's a perfect segue into just kind of kicking in some questions. So I'll start with that LPJ. So Liz and Mary, can you kind of expand more on your virtual membership and how this can kind of benefit member associations at the state and regional level?
Sure, I kind of let the cat out of the bag a minute ago, so I'll kind of reiterate that. But yeah, we feel that this could be a benefit, right, for just an added benefit to what you all offer already. And I think the main draw would be the education component, right? Like, you guys run tournaments, you're awesome at that, right? You got the handicap system. Again, we don't supply handicaps, so that education piece I think would be super beneficial, just because if we're educating women on getting into the game, feeling comfortable, going through the etiquette, going through Golf 101, picking up those tips, connecting to an LPGA professional if you're trying to teacher, then they're going to play more golf, right? And that benefits everybody. So it's a nice, like I said, all those perks we've talked about, whether it's the tour tickets or it's the benefits that we offer through the apparel and the restaurants, the directory, or any of that stuff. I think it would be a nice addition to what you guys already offer to your members in the first place.
And the reason we really looked at the virtual community and launched it is with the LPGA, our chapters and our local chapters we have 135, again, with the countries that Liz listed, but there was a lot of demand to want to be part of the LPGA family and a connection to what we do, but there's not a local chapter in that area. So from a virtual standpoint, that allowed us to create that person that could come as part of the family that's a supporter of our tour players, or they're playing themselves, and this really gives us that vehicle to be able to create that partnership with them. The LPGA is very global, And so we are all over the world. And so with the virtual community, it allows us to be able to outreach to everyone. There's really no border as to what we can do. And we have some of the best some of the best professionals in the business. That's part of our family. So in working with our professionals and our amateurs, it's a win-win. We do it already with an ambassador program that we have around the country with our chapters and connecting them with some of our local LPGA professionals. So this really becomes sort of a natural fit in bringing the educational component. I remember speaking, I think, to Bill, this was a few years ago, and when we were talking about LPGA and our professionals and what did we have in terms of education that we could then partner with some of you to create that. That's where sort of the whole idea also started. So we're excited to have the virtual component, and we think that can be of a great benefit or a great addition to some of the the great programs that you're already offering your members.
Awesome. And then kind of just going off that virtual component, what is your experience in the virtual events world?
Yeah, and this is interesting because ours is a little bit different. So we do a virtual scramble with LPG amateurs, and we actually started this in 2020. So we actually hosted our fifth year this year of our virtual scramble, and it's a little different than this program, and it really came out of COVID, where we normally run 15 national events for our members. They either can come to a national event or they qualify through regional qualifiers for a cup finals, for example. And in 2020, we were not offering our national events. And so we sort of, internally said, what can we do to be able to still provide an event for where our members would still feel that they've got that connection to the national organization, the group, and just bring all of our chapters together. So that's where our virtual scramble started, and this is our fifth year. The difference with ours versus what we've just heard is that ours is based on a fundraiser. So we basically linked it with our LPGA Foundation and made it a fundraiser for the foundation. So our member who wants to participate, they pay $50. That's really a donation to the foundation. They can play at any course that they want. It's about a 2.5 week window where they can play. So far, in 5 years, we've raised over $100,000 for the foundation with more than 2,000 participants in our scramble. We have this year we had over 400 to 500 participants just this year alone as well. Some years we'll have multiple scrambles that we can host. But it's really cool. It's more fun. They create their team names. We've got some, they have their uniforms and some really cool, that's actually my favorite part of it is all the team names that they come up with. And they have outfits, but we do contests. And so we do have playing, winners for the categories, but we do a fun division. And so we're really making it to where we can expand the fundraising aspect of it. So again, virtual, with the community, with your virtual events, but just different, and it's just a different idea for anyone that's linked with a foundation or a way, or you might have a local organization that you're looking to support, and that's just a really great way to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mary and thank you, Liz. Just moving over, Jerome. So with British Columbia's Cloud Series model, obviously it's very unique, very new. What would you say has been the biggest obstacle, and for other associations that might be interested in kind of doing something similar, what kind of recommendations would you give for those obstacles?
That's a great question. Feel free to chip in if you want. There's a couple obstacles. The first one, and this is maybe not just a Cloud Series problem. Anytime you're running a new event format with a new demographic, All Abilities is also a good example. There's a lot of things that I think sometimes we take for granted in the golf industry. Saying something as simple as post your score to Golf Genius, that's a really new idea to a lot of people. So we've spent a lot of time really explaining the fundamentals, which is a good problem to have, in my opinion. So with that's taken up a lot of staff time. In my opinion, that's time well spent. And then we have worked on really solidifying our kind of frequently asked questions. We've screen recorded some videos and sent that out to players on how to post your scores. So I think definitely we at the outset we didn't communicate well enough on how to do the fundamentals, how do you post your score. In some cases, how do you make a tea time? Like we had to explain that to a team, right? Especially some of the technicalities of the event, right? So communication and then the ensuing downtime, I think has been probably our biggest challenge. But at the same time, I think that's kind of our biggest opportunity, right? To really explain to a new demographic how championships work in this format, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, so you've had 2 seasons under your belt and obviously notable increase in participation. So with kind of comparing your 2023 and 2024 participation, what changes or adjustments from your first year did you implement? I saw, aside from that, like communication, and those kind of adjustments, and how has that kind of driven the participation, do you think?
Yeah. Good point. So when players register, we're actively encouraging our existing players to tell your friends, tell the foursome behind you to sign up. I think we really counted on word of mouth to really expand the program. We frankly haven't done that much online communication. So it's been word of mouth. I think that's really brought up our numbers.
Amazing, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And then, Audrey, moving over to you. So, with the ladies in league, obviously balancing competition and social aspects is very tricky, but you guys have done a wonderful job of that. And it's been both, accessible and engaging for everyone. So, kind of for your challenges, what have you guys faced and kind of trying to manage both of those?
Yeah, I'd say with it being the first year, I'd say the toughest part is getting people to trust each other a little bit. They have a kind of, since it is fully virtual, it's not a requirement to play with another participating team. Sometimes if somebody shoots a really low score, of course there's always questions. So it's a lot of kind of reiterating to people the system works. Everybody can have a really amazing day, and it just kind of the people that kind of struggled the most with the trust were the people who had extensive championship experience. So the people who we were gearing this towards with no championship experience at all, they were more easily just willing to go with the flow and just try it. So it's kind of balancing the two different resumes of the types of players that played.
Absolutely, and then kind of just going off about like feedback and from participants, aside from kind of that aspect and having a year under your belt, what feedback have you received, and do you have any plans to kind of implement any changes next year with the program?
Yeah, so basically the feedback we have been getting is like kind of with the championship kind of level players, they of course wanted to attest scores, and in a virtual series it's very hard unless you ask them to send because we ran everything through Golf Genius like BC and had them download the app, submit scores through the app, so there was no attesting through that. So if player feedback really leaned towards attesting or maybe even possibly flighting it based on the handicap, we're in the process of kind of restructuring. So we have a new golf operations manager who will be taking this event on. So we have a lot of great feedback from people that we're gonna explore our options and see. There's a lot of directions that we have for the first year we had 140 teams and 280 players, and this was more than our previous version of a different event. So I think there's so much possibility and great feedback we've gotten so far that we can make it into whatever we want it to be.
Absolutely awesome. Well, Mary, Liz, Jerome, and Audrey, thank you guys so much for running us through that. Appreciate your time, and kind of just want to open the floor up to anyone that might have questions for the panelists.
Thank you. So for the LPGA amateurs in your virtual community, you mentioned that part of what you are going to provide is that education factor, getting the newer golfers through the process of here's what you do when you start playing, etc. What are you doing to recruit those new golfers on your platform? Because
from my perspective, what we would provide by giving this free access to our members, someone who already has a handicap index is not really that demographic necessarily. So how I'm trying to think how your new golfers, how this could benefit us also, that those new golfers do go through that education, become, golfers who play all the time, and how does that convert into somebody who would then want to get a handicap index?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we work a lot with our partners, with a lot of groups that are not necessarily golf groups. Like, so think of Mocha Moms is a good group that we partner with, or Sisters Across America, or some of our partners like KPMG, or anybody like that. Where with the partner side, it's they're providing a benefit to their employees. So to get involved in golf, because we know decisions get made on the golf course, so a lot of the females want to get involved in just learning how to play the game, right? So that's kind of our partner angle. The other angle is our DEI angle, where we're inviting everybody and anybody, into the LPGA family, so that they start to feel comfortable with the terminology. They start to feel comfortable with, showing up at the golf course, going through the Golf 101 program. I think we call it Let's Go Golf. That was created by one of our LPGA professionals. So it's an interactive, series where they start to get comfortable, and then from there, we can start to talk virtual scramble with them and their friends, and get out on the golf course. And then, as you know, it's a process, right? It's to get to that handicap level, it's the education and getting them on the course, getting them to feel comfortable, and then introducing a league, or if we were to do a virtual league, or partner with one of the chapters and do a league. So it's a step process, is the way we view it, just to baby steps, one at a time, right, to get them into that database for you all, into your handicap database.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think, we have our Let's Go Golf 101, which is sort of what's already built and what we're launching initially, but the goal is to add Let's Go Golf 201 and more. So as we are also progressing within our platform, adding additional levels for women that are more advanced and that want a little bit more in-depth instruction or information. And then there's also our YouTube channel with our LPGA professionals that as they launch series, they're going to be for different levels of golfers as well. And then through our LPGA Amateurs virtual community, we'll have the ability to launch that to those members first. So if we have one of our experts launch a shortening series of the 5 series, we'll have the ability to launch that to our virtual members first. And then as well, with our LPGA players, with some of our Epson Tour players, we also then do some Facebook Lives, or we have some different events that we either record or they're actually live with the professional. And then we can invite members that are part of the virtual community to get engaged and ask questions live. And so our goal is to really make it to where it's going to be able to get the better, more advanced golfer as well, and not just the beginner.
The other thing too is our database there, it was like almost 50% of our members have a handicap. So they're obviously a competitive, engaged group, right? So that's the idea, is to kind of backfill that, get the mentors at the chapter level where they're virtual members in the area where there is a chapter. Then we make that introduction, and then we can build that pathway where they can get to competitive golf
And play in the state championships and events.
Does that answer?
Awesome, great question, Mandy. Other questions? Oh, yep.
Hi. I was wondering your for your evolution performance program, do you have some material also in French or with the title? And obviously, I'm from Quebec. It's always a question that I ask. Just curious if it's
We don't. But something that'd be interesting is certainly to build. That's probably the biggest challenge, and just not with this virtual community, but with the LPGA being so global.
exactly.
There's always language and having it available in different is always a topic of how do we do that better and probably utilize technology. And that's really what we're researching right now, is because we have some of our professionals and our executive committee. I mean, we have members in 41. I mean, it's 41 countries. I mean, in Korea and Japan, and so it's a lot of different languages. And so one of the projects that we're working on now is to find that piece of technology, and it's gotten so much better as to how we can bring that in order to be able to give a product that has the availability in other languages. So it is on our radar, and we're looking at that, but not currently that I can say tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jarrell, Audrey, what kind of entry fees, or do you charge entry fees to participate?
No entry fees for us.
Ours is $25 per month. Yeah, so we use that to fund our prizes that we give out and also the final day, and also the administrative.
And you both use just Golf Genius as a platform for this?
Actually, just on that point. So when we started, we considered adding an entry fee. Probably the reason number one just being it kind of gives some buy-in. Like we thought there'd be more uptake. And then the first year we had, of everyone that signed up each month, about 70% of the teams posted scores. And then this year that number went up to 90. Again, I don't really have the best explanation for that, but I thought that was interesting. We haven't really needed an entry fee to make it sticky, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in both BC and Washington, so do you see the teams of four, the teams of two, just kind of going out on their own? Do you see them, kind of groups of teams going together and creating more of a social experience, kind of mixed in with this? And then, is that kind of an opportunity as well from a messaging perspective to kind of, hey, bring your friends out with you and kind of create a day out of it?
Yeah. So in our case, our messaging has been how flexible it is. So there's a handful of clubs that they're Tuesday ladies. They're designating 1 week. That's their Cloud Series week. So this week, every foursome's playing. They're playing the scramble and they're posting their score. Then we have other places where it's just four people at a public course. They're the only people in town playing, right? So we've actually highlighted those stories to our players and saying, listen, you can really do whatever you want. But the clubs that are doing it, we had a few pros at the start when we launched this. A few pros said, well, this is more work for me. So we had to kind of get over that hump. Really, it's no work for the pro. So it's been a mix, and I think that's the strength, the fact you can do it wherever we're at it.
Yeah, ours is highly flexible too, because with our previous iteration, you had to, like another pair in the state or in your region, you had to coordinate with them. And the main feedback from that event was just the struggle to schedule. So for this event, we wanted to make it as flexible as possible. Hence, you just had to play with your partner. But we did notice a lot of teams playing together. Like even two of our staff members played in the event and played with one of their friends. So they did every monthly challenge together. So we did encourage that to just we had in Golf Genius, there was a chat, or not a chat, but a message board that we encouraged teams to go there to say, hey, we have a tea time at Jefferson Park. Does anybody else want to join? So we had that option too.
And we can attest just from our virtual scramble. I mean, the amount of the work or the back end needs to run a virtual event versus an in-person where you're running it in a different, like for us would be a different state potentially, or for you a different city within yours. It's just night and day in terms of really what goes into running something that's virtual versus an in-person. There's a lot of components that you don't even need to handle the whole course and reservations, and there's no food and beverage, and there's no on-site, and so it's totally a different type of event.
So, speaking to the administrative side, Jerome and Audrey, they can play any golf course they want. How do you set that up, or how did they tell Golf Genius what golf course they're playing and then post those scores?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, so your first month, you're gonna say, I'm playing Victoria Golf Club, the Blue Tees. Your team registers, and then you register with Team ID. So it's you and I and Chris, let's say. So that's what you're gonna be playing. Yeah, that's your setup for April. Your next month, when you go to register on the 15th of the month, the registration for the next month opens up. and then you say, if you're registering the same team, you do the same process, and you check off, I'm on the same golf course, or I'm making a change to the golf course. What we have to do is the April month is the most labor intensive. We're going and we're finding the pairing of us 3 or us 4. On the pairing, we have to manually put in the golf course and the tee. From then on, we're just duplicating the tee sheet each month, and we're making edits as we see fit. Players are kind of encouraged actually to try different golf courses, which has caused us a little bit more work. But that just comes with the territory. So yeah, it's Justin, feel free to chip in if you have.
Yeah, I'm going to interject. Justin Scott from Golf Genius. I had a conversation with Jerome about these women playing different courses. And we have to do some testing on this, but we do have an application in our mobile app where you can select to allow your golfers to choose a course and tee when logging into the mobile app. What we need to test is, if there are 40 or 50 courses and test, and not only for us, but also for your players, we need to determine whether that long list of 40 courses with 6 tees per course will load properly in the app. If it does load, we need to determine if that is going to be a hindrance for the players to scroll through that long laundry list, making sure that they choose the proper course and the proper tee. But that's certainly something we will be testing. If it's a shorter list of courses, certainly may be a more viable option where you can choose from 3 or 4 courses. There aren't as many tees, so that is something that may reduce the workload on your administrative staff if we put that on the player.
Yeah, so kind of going off of that, for how we did it was they registered month by month. So we had Custom Fields and Golf Genius asking them what course and tees they wanted to play. And then after registration closed each month, I would go in, make the pairings, and attach the course and tee based on what they put in. But we did point them towards the mobile app. It's like, okay, if you did change your mind, we have I think I pushed Golf Genius a little bit to the limit and had a mountain of a big pile of courses. So some teams did have a problem scrolling all the way to find the bottom ones. But I would just manually make that change myself and just tell them to log in, go for it. So that feature really came in handy.
And if you don't mind, do you have an estimate? I can look in your account. Do you have an estimate of how many courses you felt like you had chosen in your course detail?
I lost count.
Okay, so if you lost count, I guess it would work. It's just a bit more difficult.
Yeah, it's a large number.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we'd be interested on in this particular thing in the next year, it would be good if someone could figure out, does it cost more time for us to change the golf courses, or does it cost more time to put it in the players' hands and then fix their So I don't know who has the answer. We'll do this next year. We'll give you the answer.
That happened to us a few times where teams would, one team, we noticed because ours was all net, so we noticed they were 18 under. So it's okay, that's a little odd for a best ball. Okay, this is interesting. Going to find out they played from the back teeth. Then I checked their scores in June and found out they actually played the Reds. So I had to email them and say, hey, so what tees did you play? And then they fessed up to playing the Reds, but they just thought the system selected the blacks. So I had to make that change, and then of course their net score changed, but fun stuff.
For the virtual tournament series, did you share what the breakdown was between public versus private players, and then if you learned anything through survey or qualitative gathering of info, what their motivation was for playing in it? Particularly thinking private clubs, they usually all have a ladies' day that week. Do they feel like they don't have enough social opportunities to play, or I'm just curious as to why they would continue to sign up month after month?
It's a good question. I'll give you my email. I can maybe find you the public-private numbers. But what we've seen, on the club question, a lot of these women they're playing a lot of golf. I think just a new format and something new has been. I think that's been the main motivation. maybe club play, like maybe ladies day on Tuesday mornings, maybe that's getting a bit stale for them. So that's what's bringing them on board. And then what we've seen, again, just more anecdotally, with public players who've never competed, this is their time to shine. This is the first time in their lives that they've competed on a golf course, right? And it's, as I said earlier, it's as easy as possible to get involved. It's a lot easier, especially if you live in the further parts of our province. It's a lot easier to compete on your own golf course than it is to drive to Vancouver and play the BC Women's Senior, right? So, yeah, I think anecdotally on the public side, ease of access, and then privately, just on the private club side, just a new format. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I would think flexibility, their schedule too, right? When you play an event, it's this time, this location, and now you've got a month to decide where you're playing, who you're playing with. I mean, you're the one in control of your event, which a lot of our, all of our members would like to sometimes pick their own groups and where they want to, who they want to play with, and this gives them the ability to do that. So it's different than just our average of what we mostly offer.
Yeah, I'd say for us, it was a good mix, I feel like, of public versus private. I mean, leaning more towards, because we have more public course clubs than private, but even like some of the clubs, a good portion of their women's club decided to sign up because of something different. And I think they really like kind of seeing how they stacked up against other teams in the state. So kind of comparing themselves to other people, but just a different format. That was something like they would normally not sign up for a walk-off event, but this was a kind of comfortable way to get into it, and then hopefully get them more into our event ecosystem.
One other question just came to mind is like, as far as giving out prizes when you have golfers playing different golf courses on different days. I mean, is that something that you really considered, or you just kind of thought, hey, this is more of a social program, and it doesn't matter if this team shot, 8 under in a best ball, and this team shot 4 under, and they're completely different weather conditions, even if it's on the same golf course. I'm just thinking through that because I know Jen is going to roll out this new gamification, element of their app, and it sounds like it kind of fits in with everything that you had talked about as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we're aware it's an imperfect competition model. There's the net leaderboard goes first, gross leaderboard goes second. We really haven't had too many complaints about that, I guess. The gross or the net scoring, it's all scoring to par. But I think what helps us is our biggest prizes is the draw prizes, right? So that kind of, and we frame it to our players that it's primarily about participation and getting involved. There's no big prizes are on the line, especially in that division. So we've kind of been able to steer clear controversy. Yeah. So I think leading with participation prizes is probably best for this format.
Yeah, we only gave the first place team guaranteed prize, and then we would give out like 7 to 9 random prizes just to get the people who would normally never be towards the top of the leaderboard something to look forward to, and kind of as a way, like, or especially early on, we kind of see like, okay, this team hasn't signed up for the next month yet. Okay, let's try to draw them in the next month, and we'll select them as one of the random prizes. And we noticed that they get all excited because an email would go out to all participants saying who got prizes and what the prize was. So people seeing the other random prizes and what the teams that were getting it kind of made them want to sign up again and try to keep playing to hopefully get a prize.
So ours is, like we said, like Mary Lee said, it's a little different with the fundraising aspect, but it's a 2.5 week period, and we send an email daily with a daily prize. So just very similar to you guys. It's usually a team name or best dressed, or there's all kinds of awards that we'll give out. And then for the awards themselves, we do pay first and second gross and net, but the rest of them are random. It's just, we just spin a wheel and pull team names, and so it gets, it kind of takes that factor of it being this super serious competition out of it.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys utilizing any sort of directory the way that they were talking about with the players that are involved in your events, to where they can kind of connect with each other to get together and play?
Not yet. But you're using All Genius message boards.
Yeah, we were using the message board in Golf Genius. So like there were some groups that kind of did that, but we kind of left it up to the golfers to connect. I mean, that might be worth something exploring next year, whether like kind of having a field on the entry form asking, are you comfortable with us sharing your contact information with other participants? As a way to like, if they wanna play with other people, they can. But if they just want to stick with their friend group, that's up to them. So might be worth exploring more.
Seems like a good opportunity for marketing of the program to say there's a way to meet people.
There any other questions? Okay, I guess we'll kind of transition just for, just, with having a few years. I know we're all kind of different, like 1, 2, 2 and 4 for your other component. What are you guys most excited about, I guess, going into the upcoming year with these programs, or what additional comments do you have about your initiatives?
Well, there's a couple of things we're working on. As participation grows, we want to grow our prize fund, but we're pretty dead set on not increasing our entry fees. So we're looking to recruit some sponsors, and hopefully people really kind of align with what we're trying to do and grow participation in golf. So I'm really excited to kind of explore the sponsorship market for this event. That's exciting. It's not related to women's golf, but I'm hoping to roll this out with all abilities golf as well. It can be challenging for those players to find people who are going through what they're going through. So I think an all abilities cloud series would be interesting as well. Not as related to this, but yeah, that's exciting. And I think just growing participation, and I think it was you who said this. I would love to see in our women's championships if we get players from the cloud series into our in-person championships. I know there's a lot of conversations about participation numbers at the competitive level in women's golf. If we can, this isn't the primary focus, but if we can get a few people in the door and playing competitively, I think that would be a big win for us. So.
Oh goodness. I think the exciting thing about this moving forward, like for us, like the average handicap index was participants was 23.4. So that in like our previous event it was 17. So kind of just hitting, the strategic plan was to increase women's participation, and I feel like we can really the numbers show it hits a different group, and it's all about engaging with a higher percentage of our members, and I feel like it can go in more.
Yeah, I think for us, with the virtual scramble, specifically, we're adding a second one this year. So we'll do March and July just to hit the, because we've got the whole country. So you gotta take care of Arizona and Texas when it's hot, and vice versa for New England. But also we're exploring there's a simulator company that's interested in being the title partner for this event, and so we're exploring a simulator division. So we'd have the simulator division, the fun division, and then basically the competitive division. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. I think it could be really fun. We get definitely increased participation in both months that we're doing it, and it's all for the foundation and our Women on Horse Scholarship. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. And just from the virtual community standpoint, I think it's just obviously continuing to add some benefits or the why when someone comes in, additional information, additional education, additional opportunity to connect with some of our LPGA partners. We do have an area in the app where you can post questions, and so our goal is really for our women members to feel that they've got a place as well that's safe to ask questions, and then other members respond and really create that community that they might not have as a group physically. They might have it, but some of them don't, and it gives them a place that they can feel like they can get the answers from other women or from us at headquarters. We can monitor and make sure that we answer those questions and give the information and the education that the members are seeking. So just expanding that and making sure that we're providing the resources that the members are looking for. So it's always in progress and to continue developing.
Absolutely. And so Obviously, I know we're a little ahead of schedule here. If we don't, just want to do one final check for if there's any other comments or questions for any of our panelists before I kind of move forward. And so I kind of just want to ask, and I know these are obviously all amazing comments here, but just, and I asked this a similar question just on recommendations for like obstacles that you guys have had in your virtual components, but is there any other comments that you guys kind of want to add if there are, you know, people in this room that want to kind of follow similar models like all of you, not necessarily just obstacles, but just comments that you would have for them for new initiatives?
Well, I would just say, I think it just goes with anything that we do is just listen to the participants, right? I think what we learned the most from our after event surveys, and so what we learn is we learn from them. So every event we do, everything that we do at the national level, regardless if it's with our chapter leaders, our members, our any participants at our events or virtual scramble, it's asking questions, because it's not about us being in our offices trying to figure out what members want. You just have to ask, and they'll tell us, right? And the way Liz uses this all the time, but you know, a suggestion or a comment is a gift. I mean, it's as long as it's well delivered is what we tell when we talk to members. But that's what I would say. Just that's how we learn and how we can improve for the next year. And I think one of the best comments this year at our cup finals is we changed the formats quite a bit in the way we did things. But I think one of the best compliment that someone came up says, you know, this was the best event that I've participated in these for years, and we can really tell that you're listening to us and what we want. So to us, that's the best compliment. And you know, how do you learn? Just ask. So, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, so we do surveys as well, but just like any of our championships, we also got kind of like a focus group that's been forming. Of some people who've been involved with our organization for a long time. Some people who are a bit newer to our organization. We've been finding this kind of unofficial focus group that's where we're sort of throwing some of these ideas at. Having that group has been really helpful for us because, as I mentioned earlier, we're really used to running championships all the time. Sometimes we're not as clear in our communication as we could be. So we've used that focus group to run new ideas by them, run surprising ideas by them. I think if you can find a group of people who want to make their opinions known and are really want to be listened to, they can be a huge resource for you to get any program off the ground, really. And then I think we might have made it sound like we were chained to our computers a little bit because of this. That's not true. And as you said, well, if you run an in-person event, you're gonna run into your own obstacles there. So there is a time investment. The problems you'll be solving are probably a little bit different than an in-person championship or in-person initiative. But in our eyes, it's been absolutely worth the time investment. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I would definitely second like listening to the members and the participants and just seeing what they like, what they don't like. I mean, of course, there's always going to be very opinionated critics. 10%. So kind of sometimes you have to take their opinions with a grain of salt, but also there is like kind of just listening and then looking at who is participating and okay, maybe it's worth trying something that would appeal to different people. And it like Jerome said, we're not completely tied to constantly doing maintenance. Like I think I only had maybe 1 or 2 days, big days a month where I was doing a lot of maintenance on it. But overall, it was manageable for one person to do.
And the more programs you run, the more your members will understand what they're doing, right? So the first month will always be hard. I remember I was playing golf with Troy in early April, the first time we did this, and my phone wouldn't stop going on, so we couldn't figure out what we're doing. But now we've overcome that.
You still move forward with it.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck.
Lots of instruction sheets. Like for all 6 months, I included the same instructions on how to use the Golf Genius app. And then sometimes I'd have to reset it to people as a reminder. But just kind of over communication in that sense with what's expected of them and how to use it. So hopefully they're not blowing up your pocket.
Absolutely, over communication is better than a lot of communication for sure. So, Just want to give a huge thank you to all of these are amazing initiatives. Just want to commend you. A huge round of applause. We better